If you're starting a business soon, watch this first, because what you're about to hear could be the difference between building something that survives for years or burning out before you even get momentum. And before you skip ahead, don't, because most people don't fail in business because they're not smart enough. They fail because they start with the wrong expectations, the wrong mindset, and the wrong sequence of decisions. By the end of this video, you'll understand what actually matters in the early stages of a business, what to avoid, and how to think like someone who builds something that lasts. Now here's the question. Why do some people start with almost nothing and still manage to build profitable businesses, while others start with capital, connections, even experience, and still fail? The answer isn't luck, it's clarity. And clarity is what you're going to get here. So stay with me, because this isn't motivational fluff. This is a breakdown of how business actually works in the real world, especially when no one is watching, no one is clapping, and nothing seems to be working yet. Let's begin with something most beginners completely misunderstand. A business is not an idea. It's a system that solves a problem in exchange for value. That means if your business doesn't solve a real problem, in a way, people are willing to pay for. It doesn't matter how creative or unique your idea feels. People don't pay for ideas. They pay for outcomes. So the first thing you need to ask yourself is not, what business should I start? The real question is, what problem am I solving and for whom? If you cannot clearly answer that in one sentence, you're not ready yet, because confusion at the beginning leads to wasted time, wasted money, and frustration later. Now let's talk about something even more important: validation. Most people skip this step. They fall in love with their idea and immediately start building logos, websites, branding, social media pages. But they haven't confirmed if anyone actually wants what they're offering. That's like building a restaurant before checking if people in the area are hungry. Validation is simple in concept, but powerful in practice. You test your idea before you invest heavily into it. You talk to potential customers. You observe demand. You look for signals that people are already trying to solve the problem you're targeting. Because if people are already paying someone else to solve that problem, that's proof the market exists. You don't need to create demand from scratch. You need to position yourself within existing demand. Now here's where many beginners get stuck again. They think business success is about having the perfect idea. It's not. It's about execution. Two people can have the same idea. One executes consistently and adapts. The other overthinks and hesitates. The one who executes wins. Consistency beats perfection every time. But execution alone isn't enough. You need feedback loops. In simple terms, you need to constantly observe what's working and what's not, and adjust accordingly. Business is not static. It's dynamic. What works today might not work tomorrow. What works for one audience might fail for another. So you must be willing to learn, test, adjust, and iterate. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable. Most people start a business expecting quick results. They imagine making money within weeks or months. But in reality, the early stage of business often feels slow, uncertain, and sometimes discouraging. This is where many people quit. Not because their idea was bad, but because their expectations were unrealistic. A business is like planting a tree. At first, you don't see much happening above the surface, but beneath the soil, roots are forming. And those roots determine how strong the tree will eventually become. If you keep digging it up to check progress, you'll kill it. The same applies to business. You need patience combined with action. Now let's shift to something practical. Cash flow. A business survives on cash flow, not just profit. You can be profitable on paper and still struggle if money isn't coming in consistently. That's why early-stage businesses should prioritize generating revenue as quickly and sustainably as possible. This doesn't mean cutting corners. It means focusing on activities that bring in money sooner rather than later. For example, instead of spending months perfecting a product in isolation, you could offer a basic version, get paying customers, and improve it based on real feedback. This approach reduces risk. It also increases your chances of building something people actually want. Now let's address a mindset shift that will change how you approach everything. Stop thinking like a consumer. Start thinking like a builder. Consumers ask, "What can I get?" Builders ask, "What value can I create?" Consumers look for convenience. Builders look for opportunity. Consumers spend. Builders solve problems. When you shift into a builder mindset, you start seeing opportunities everywhere. Problems become potential businesses. Inefficiencies become openings. Complaints become ideas. But mindset alone isn't enough. You also need discipline, because motivation will not carry you through the difficult parts of building a business. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation disappears. There will be days when nothing seems to work, days when sales are low, days when doubt creeps in, days when you question whether you should continue. Those are the moments that define whether you're just trying business or truly building one. Now let's talk about something many people underestimate: focus. In the early stages, trying to do too many things at once is one of the fastest ways to fail. Multiple offers, multiple platforms, multiple strategies, all at the same time. This leads to scattered effort and weak results. Instead, focus on one thing, one product, one audience, one channel. Master that before expanding. Depth before breadth. Consistency before expansion. This is how you build momentum. Now here's something critical. Your first version will not be perfect, and that's okay. In fact, it's expected. Perfection is often the enemy of progress. If you wait until everything is perfect, you may never start. Start with what you have. Improve along the way. Let real-world feedback guide your improvements. Now let's talk about customers. Customers are not just buyers. They are the lifeblood of your business. Without customers, there is no business. So you must understand them deeply. What do they want? What do they struggle with? What motivates their decisions? What objections do they have? The better you understand your customers, the better you can serve them. And when you serve them well, trust builds. Trust leads to repeat business. Repeat business leads to stability. Stability leads to growth. Now, here's a subtle but powerful principle. People don't just buy products. They buy trust, outcomes, and confidence. They want to feel sure that their problem will be solved. That's why branding, communication, and reputation matter. Not just aesthetics, but clarity and credibility. Now let's talk about mistakes you should actively avoid. One of the biggest mistakes is waiting too long to start. Another is over-investing before validating. Another is ignoring feedback. Another is copying others blindly without understanding the reasoning behind their success. Another is giving up too early. Business is not a straight line. It's a process filled with adjustments. And finally, one of the most important truths you need to accept: failure is part of the process. You will make mistakes. You will try things that don't work. You will encounter setbacks, but those experiences are not the end. They are data. Each failure teaches you something valuable if you're willing to learn from it. Now here's where everything comes together. Starting a business is not just about making money. It's about solving problems, creating value, building systems, and developing yourself in the process. The skills you gain, decision-making, resilience, communication, problem-solving, are transferable beyond business. They shape how you think and operate in life. So when you approach business with the right mindset, it becomes more than just income. It becomes growth. Now, before we wrap up, here's something you should take seriously. If you're starting soon, don't try to figure everything out at once. Focus on taking the next step. Not the entire journey, just the next step. Validate your idea. Talk to real people. Start small. Test quickly. Learn continuously. And stay consistent. Because progress in business is rarely about one big move. It's about many small, correct decisions made over time. And if you stay in the game long enough, improving as you go, you significantly increase your chances of success. Now, if you found value in this, don't just watch and move on. Take action on at least one thing you learned today. Write down your idea, talk to a potential customer, or refine your problem statement, because knowledge without action changes nothing. And if you want more content like this, content that actually helps you think, build, and grow, then make sure you stay tuned for future videos. Your future business starts with the decisions you make today. And the earlier you start thinking correctly, the better your outcomes will be. Stay focused, stay consistent, and build something that lasts.